unapologetic atheist interracial couple's progressive response to the fucking internet.
Everybody dance now.
Damn, bam, 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 bam.
Everybody dance now. Hey. 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 Everybody, come on, let's work. Y'all dance. We made it. Bodies in that all fast. We gon' get some good policy. Let's work and dance. Sorry, that was our little. Oh, look at me! I'm about to fuck up the whole studio. In my dancing excitement, but
We're too happy right now. We're too happy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unapologetics. It's going to be short, sweet election special.
Yeah.
Just to sort of, holy shit, holy fuck, it happened, and
Trump lost.
he lost. He lost.
That's the important part. He lost. We might not have won because we got Biden, but he lost.
He lost.
That's the point.
It is such a nice feeling. It
It
was
is.
such a nice feeling.
Yeah. Finally. Taken down a peg or two.
It just felt like, okay, it worked. It fucking worked. It fucking worked.
Even though they all seem to be living on a delusional planet at present.
Yes, they are. But I mean, isn't that like their current, like their permanent state?
Yeah, I know. I don't know why we'd expect anything else at
Like,
this point. You know?
I just don't. I don't know. But let's talk about it for a second. So first of all, a shit ton of new people voted,
Yes.
which is so
Big time.
exciting. So it turns out the people who've been yelling for years, stop trying to get Republicans and get new people, get young people, fuck the motherfuckers, move on. Sounds like that strategy kind of worked a little bit.
Yeah, because, I mean, the Republicans are hopeless. Just forget it. Just forget it. You're not going to get that. Even if they're like centrist Republicans that are still like okay with gay people sometimes, like you're not going to get them. You're not going to get their vote.
I mean, you're not going to get them without doing a whole lot more work, but I don't want to talk about that yet. Let's not talk about that yet.
Anyway.
Let's keep talking about happy shit.
Happy shit.
So, we have our new message, I guess, which is unity, which, you know what? I think we need it right now because these people have a lot of guns. So I think the talking about unity right now and everybody in this together, I saw this morning a commercial that the Biden campaign released where they have this like really this cute, like gorgeous, like gold picture frame and a bunch of different Americans from all different areas doing all different kinds of jobs, obviously all different ethnicities, genders, holding up this picture frame with themselves in it, basically, you know, saying Biden is saying he's, you know, going to run an America where every American can see themselves in it and everyone has, you know, is within the frame.
Right.
So that's a powerful message. And I think it's exactly what presidents are supposed to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that has been, I mean, I think seeing, you know, Kamala come out in that damn white suit, was excellent. We love to see it.
Hell yeah.
It was a good speech. They've, you know, good speeches. I'm excited.
Me too. Yeah.
I mean,
I think...
we can talk a little bit later about some of the things that we aren't so excited about, but I think this is the beginning of some new, really good conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to just see how it goes, you know. Which I have a lot more faith in this administration than I do in the, you know, the one that's occupied the White House for the past 4 years. So
yeah,
you know, even though I don't really know what to expect, really, but I know it's not gonna. I know I shouldn't have to expect the worst like I was out of this last one. So
yeah.
You know.
It seems as if, though, when we look at the numbers, we definitely increased young voters. Woo woo, they came out.
Yeah, that's
that's
awesome.
fucking awesome. We need to get a whole lot more of that. Seeing so many young people, like we're talking like we're super old, but like, you know, the super youngs, the
Yeah.
Z's, the Zennials. No,
I don't even know what the next.
the Gen Z.
Gen Z. Yeah.
The Zoomers. Isn't that what they are? Zoomers.
Zoomers.
Yeah.
I've not heard that one.
They're doing the damn work, and it's really cool to see them be, you know what it seems to me like, Amy, I think, was telling me, Amy with Y was telling me that like the kids today, because, you know, she has teenagers, they're into like, not like, you can't be cringe. So that means that these fucking politicians that, especially these like moderates that like to like have a facade and not like show their full selves, that ain't gonna work for this generation. They are too online.
They're gonna see this
They're
shit.
literally watching videos of people talking about like their transitions, people talking about like living with, you know, all kinds of things that are intimate and raw and real. They should see that shit on a daily basis. So that cringe stuff ain't gonna work for them. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that shit plays out, because, you know, considering a conversation we're gonna have later, it might turn out to be huge. But thank you, young voters, for coming out. Black women once again came out, kicked it 91% for fucking Trump. Excuse me, Biden.
Okay.
Woo, my bad.
Really?
Sorry, y'all.
I know the black men came out for Trump, apparently. But...
Yes, there was an increase across the board, but it's just, you know, he increased his voting period. Like he increased the people who voted for him, period. Yeah. Like it just, so yeah, I mean, well,
I think because
that's inevitable, but I think too, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just think that everybody could see that, you know, Biden was really picking up steam, you know, and then they really upped the propaganda machine to really push hard on the socialist, defund the police. There's, you know, nobody's going to answer your call when you call 911. It just bullshit lies, you know, and it gets all these people just freaked. Yeah, you know, and it was mainly that mainly jumped up because of just how much stronger Biden was in the polls.
It's interesting how that seemed to work on some groups and not work on others, right? Because like black women and young voters saw those same commercials with, you know, those really disingenuous commercials about defunding the police, and yet it didn't work. No. So you would think that maybe it might have something more to do with the demographic it's targeting than the actual ad. I don't know. May have to think about that. Yeah. But anyway.
Well, maybe it could be this, you know, and maybe I'm just being cynical here, but it just seems to me that black voters, especially black women, they're used to getting gaslit. You know what I mean? And so they've gotten pretty good at seeing right through that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
literally everything is, wait, you're concerned about my safety? Who are you? Why? That's not normal.
Yeah, they're just like, this is all bullshit.
That you usually give a shit about. It's interesting. So yeah, I think that, you know, that is awesome. Of course, we're being called the backbone of the Democratic Party, which I'd really prefer not to be called anymore.
You're a backbone.
It's just weird. Like it's supposed to be a compliment, and I get that, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, okay, give me policy.
Right, yeah.
I'm so glad that I am continuously keeping you away from becoming, you know, obsolete. But I really like y'all to just like move up the policy for me. Like gains. Like give me shit. Give me shit. Yeah. And you know, so we'll see how that goes. Right. Anyway, so in addition to winning the presidency, rah, we also, you know, which is obviously huge win. We avoided fascism. Hello. Yeah. For now. Yay.
Right. Yeah. For this second right now.
Yay. Let's absolutely celebrate that. But let's also not forget it was, you know, on a platform that wasn't necessarily super progressive. So I wanted to talk for a second about some of the other gains that we got throughout the country that were surprising and very progressive. So let's talk first about Florida. Florida increased our minimum wage. We all voted over the increase of hiking our minimum wage to $15 an hour got more votes in this state than either Trump or Biden.
So that means that
means something important, goddammit, and you consultants need to get on your data sets to fucking figure it out.
Republicans want to hold some of these businesses accountable too. It seems.
Start running those regressions. Someone needs to get on it. Anyway, so Florida voted to increase our minimum wage to $15 an hour. Yes, of course, we have a fucked up whole Republican system. Right now, DeSantis is playing along with Trump's game of like trying to, I don't know, prove there's voter fraud all over the place. I don't know. By a Democratic Party that didn't even like run text messaging ads in the state of Florida. So yeah, I'm sure like.
Well, that's what's so funny. A lot of their arguments are like, and nobody even showed up to their fucking digital, you know, campaign, events and stuff. It was all empty. Like there was like 5 people in the room. And it's like,
I cannot.
There's a pandemic.
They think
There's a
that's
fucking
evidence.
pandemic. Are you guys fucking stupid?
It's like, and first of all, I don't think you could not listen to anything about Biden without people continuously pointing out how not excited people were for Biden. Like, but we're excited to get Trump the fuck out of office. It's like in the middle of a pandemic for a candidate that not a ton of people were really super excited for. Come on. Yeah. Give me a break. Let's see some of the other progressive gains. Portland also, in addition, increased their Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon. I think Portland, Oregon is already fucking in good shape. But Portland, Maine also increased their minimum wage. Tenants also won big throughout the country. In Boulder, Colorado now, you can't do an eviction without representation. Oh. They passed a measure to tax landlords and use the money to provide legal representation for tenants facing eviction. Nice. That is pretty fucking cool. Oh, yeah, let's see. Colorado rejected forced reproductive labor for women, which I really want to understand what that means. That is to say, defeating an attempt by anti-choice forces to restrict abortion. So basically, there is no forced reproductive labor in Colorado right now, which I think could be legally amazing. Right. And I really want to read everything about this now. So I'm so excited. I got to go find everything about this now.
I love the rewording there. That's how they need to be saying it.
Yes.
We need to quit with this we should have the choice thing and be like, no, we're against forced labor.
I think that's the point. Yeah.
And I think that because that changes the rhetoric a bit to where it's almost indefensible, on that point. If you put that in there, you can't restrict that their right to,
because it's been the emphasis has always been on the fetus, and it's like if we keep focusing on that, we're going to lose at some point.
Right. Exactly.
So flipping that language might be really important. The question is, I just want to read something more about it because that's just so interesting.
Yeah,
and we may
absolutely.
be going a little too far.
Maybe.
And by the way, I'm getting this information from Jacobin magazine. Remember Jacobin? They're pretty much all socialists, so they're very hard to please. So if they're saying these are wins, then we have to see them as fucking wins. I'm being a bit facetious. I have nothing against socialists.
No, honestly not.
Yeah. So flirting with myself. Anyway, the article, there was actually a lot of good news for the left on election day. It was an article by Liza Featherstone, excuse me. Let me continue because there are a couple other really cool things that happened. Let's see. Oregon voted to tax the rich to fund universal pre-K. Awesome.
Nice.
The state also decriminalized a startling number of drugs. I love how she put startling.
Startling.
Like I'm a little like this is cool and all.
I'm kind of worried.
Like I'm a socialist, so this is cool, but it's like also wow. A little bit scared here. Including small quantities, excuse me, of heroin, cocaine, and meth. That is huge.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and this is going to be really cool to see how this plays out. It's like sort of an experimental thing for us in America, because this has been done in other countries before, and it's had really great response, and the deaths of the epidemic of the opioids and stuff, it's all gone down.
It's almost like if you take out the moralistic guilt bullshit when it comes to addiction, it becomes a whole lot easier to see the contours of it and like get on top of it.
Right.
It's kind of weird how that works.
It's because people don't want to act like they want to act like we're not just fucking humans reacting to our environments most of the time. Like that's usually all that's going on.
Like I care in so much of how you got on it because we should have ways to prevent it, but I don't care so much as to make you feel like you are to blame for your own sickness. Like that is insidious and not problem solving and just weird. Okay, speaking of drugs. South Dakota, Montana, Arizona, and New Jersey legalized weed for adults for any reason.
Okay, weed's not a drug. It's...
Well, first of all, yes. But can I say,
kidding.
how the fuck did New Jersey legalize weed? That is amazing to me. I just think that's fucking amazing. Yeah. South Dakota, Montana, and Arizona.
Dude, those people always act like they don't, but like these hillbillies smoke, man. They do. They don't just drink Budweiser.
Yeah.
They drink their Bud Ice and they smoke.
Any adult. Like, it is. Because the question isn't whether or not it should be illegal. The questions are how awful is it in compared to the very legal shit that we already peddle people?
Yeah,
and
come on.
I have yet to find the person whose entire life fell apart because they became addicted to marijuana as opposed to alcohol.
No, right? Yeah, you can't find anybody. I mean,
but of course, that's the easiest argument. I'm sure there is a bunch of other arguments against it. Whatever. Other really good news, a bunch of progressive district attorneys won their races, which is really good news because all of them are in support of ending cash bail, and the vast majority of them are usually in support of doing, other shit in lieu of prison sentences, so you don't completely upend someone's life for, like, the pettiest of shit.
right? Yeah. Good. That's awesome.
Yes. So... yeah, it was a really good night, I think, for a lot of other progressive goals and just the goals that, in my opinion, aim at getting, people, giving people their fucking rights, man.
Yeah.
Give them their fucking rights,
That's
man.
simple,
Give them their fucking their rights and stop, messing up their fucking lives for petty shit. Literally, let's stop being Brent's favorite word recently, pedants.
Everybody keeps saying it. I can't help it. Okay? Once I hear it too much, I start to say it.
You've said that 12 times in 2 days. What is happening? Did I miss something?
You're being a pedant about me being a pedant right now. Okay? About me using the word pedant.
Okay. So let's see. That's all the good stuff. Oh, another thing too that was really cool that I read randomly is that there was a huge increase. That's part of the reason why Arizona went for Biden. There was a huge increase in Navajo voting for Joe Biden. It was 91%.
Holy shit! Nice.
It was awesome.
Damn.
I love our country, and I just wish that we can just all live here. Well, let's make this work, please. Because it's just when it does, it's just so gorgeous. And then watching all those spontaneous, I really wish more people had worn masks, but the spontaneous dancing in the street and the parties. I saw people at a gas station dancing to Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, which is an automatic you must dance song. It is, I got to get my happy dance going. And
unless you work in retail, then they're just it's an automatic resting bitch face.
I'm so sorry for you. I understand, but at least it's one of the better ones. I mean, you can't say that about White Christmas.
That's the way I was going to go too. That's what say White Christmas, man.
I love White Christmas is everybody's.
Yeah.
So yeah, really great news. Let's turn now to the miserable people. Mm-hmm. Trump is having a real hard time accepting everything that's happening.
He's having a straight fucking meltdown, dude. He's just having a mental meltdown.
And I guess we can't say we're too surprised, huh?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wouldn't be surprised if, in January, he's going to have every piece of furniture up against that door. He'd be sitting in just, a fold-out chair from the closet in the middle of the room. It's
this type of cell phone that you just feel is just too bananas to actually happen, but he could pull it off.
He could pull it off, man. This is what you get when you put a fucking reality TV star in a fucking show. Have you seen these people? We watch them for a reason. They're crazy.
Yeah, and it's sad too because they're all over everywhere saying there's all this evidence when their lawsuits are being actually kicked out of court.
Tossed out, just completely. No, you
got
of
lack of evidence.
Yeah.
And it's we're living in these two parallel worlds where, they are just waiting for some kind of, I don't know, strongman push from Trump, which I guess we're already getting because, nevertheless, he's still acting like, he's not going to concede and that it's still contested. You still have people like DeSantis and Rubio and Pence and Don Jr. and all of them putting out tweets and information that makes it clear that they're not moving on until, I don't know, all the lawsuits get kicked out. I don't fucking know. But
and then you also got all their content creators putting out these baseless conspiracy theories of them just taking photos of cameramen taking their equipment into the fucking voting places because they're there to report on it.
Hiding for their lives.
And they're saying,
there's a poll worker in Georgia that had to go into hiding.
See, this is what I'm talking about. They got no evidence whatsoever, but it's there to just manipulate people that are upset because they see that he lost. And so if they can get just one snippet of a cameraman bringing a box into a fucking place, then it's like, oh my God, they're cheating. And it's
Yes.
like, wow, you got from there to that, like, so quick. Like, dude, that's just a picture of a guy bringing a box in a room. What are you doing, man? Like, that's... And he's clear. Ugh, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what their end game is, but it is kind of... it's just discouraging that he got so many fucking votes.
It is. It's like...
It's discouraging. That's reality. That's
like,
reality.
It's like I was saying, like, I feel like my faith has been renewed in 49.7% of humanity at this point, like, or whatever it was, but like, I can't believe there's that much, many people in this country that can be this easily manipulated by a fucking clear fascist.
Yeah.
And they just swallow it, hook, line, and sinker.
They watched for 4 years him just be awful, and it just wasn't awful to them. And in fact, it was actually attractive. And I can't figure out if they're like sadists or masochists or just a big cabal of both.
Yeah, dude. They're both simultaneously. It's amazing. They're a sadist when they see Trump owning the libs, but then they're a masochist when they get caught in the crossfire of him owning the libs. Because let's face it, they get caught in the crossfire.
They're in denial about it, though. They're like, "Oh, it was my fault because X, Y, Z."
Because they got the personal
proof.
Yeah, they got the personal responsibility thing on them, and so they all hate themselves, and that makes them hate the people that
Yeah, it's not going to be fun watching these people. Be reminded daily that they no longer have one really important avenue of power, and that the person that they put so much power in is really powerless.
Yeah.
Because apparently Putin is dying or sick.
Yeah, I know, right? That's crazy.
And I was seeing earlier Netanyahu, president. Does Israel have a prime minister or a president?
I think it's a prime minister.
I think it's a prime minister because it's parliament. Yeah.
So.
So Netanyahu has already basically been like, congratulations, Kamala and Joe. I've always had a great relationship with you, and I look forward to our future.
Wow. Even world leaders. It's like...
Sorry, Paula White. All that like meltdown praying you did earlier this week didn't work. I feel like I low-key feel so bad for all those like groups of Christians from like Ohio that was so like in love with Trump because he was just such a big defender of Israel, and thinking that like Israel in kind was also like a big supporter of Trump instead of just their own nation working in their own self-interest, who eventually we're going to drop all of you because they're in on the fucking joke, you weirdos. They know that you need them to not exist in order for your prophecy to come true. They know what you're doing. And they don't
believe it. This is what's so funny. It's like, they're just like, I don't know, fucking one of the most powerful nations on earth, like, really likes us because the guy that, they all worship came from here. So whatever, they're gonna move our capital or whatever to Jerusalem. So hey, I got that, but we don't give a fuck about your Jesus or any of that shit. We don't even believe in him.
Like there, and some evangelicals are big mad that Netanyahu would just be like a politician.
Yeah, like, it's just like, no, we got what we wanted out of you, and we're good. We're moving on.
What's going on? So yeah, they are seemingly melting. Slowly but surely melting down, but it's still, eventually the Republicans are going to pivot, because I think one of the realities that we're seeing come out of these numbers and the result is that you had a lot of people show up to get Trump out of there, but those same people did not show up to get Republicans out of there.
Right.
We had some Republicans win more seats. We had, we have in Georgia now, we have the runoff race against two awful Republican senators. I mean,
the worst. Seriously,
Kelly Loeffler cannot be a worse politician. I cannot believe the level of bullshit. I can't. So anyway, we have a runoff coming in January for those two seats. And that's largely going to make a huge difference, on whether or not we control the Senate, meaning whether or not we can do anything at all.
Yeah, that seems to be the most. I don't know. It seems to be the most powerful branch at this point. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? They say they're co-equal, but it doesn't really appear to be so.
It really doesn't. And
they blocked a fucking Democratic president who had the executive, and then we still had the House too, correct? During Obama. but
Yes.
they had the Senate, which
Yes.
blocked everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have the Senate, or if you're, that's the most
Yes.
powerful branch right there. I mean, it's whatever. But
So yeah,
my 2 cents.
I mean, it is and it isn't. I think it's become the most quote unquote powerful branch only because no one foresaw Mitch McConnell.
Yeah,
no one
railroading.
foresaw that anyone would potentially tank their career by doing absolutely nothing, and that in turn helping their career.
Yeah,
Like
That
no
is
one
insane.
could have predicted that. He went out on a leap and it worked.
yeah, because they loved it.
It fucking worked.
They're like, if all this we got is him, then that's what we're gonna use, and I don't care if he breaks all the rules and just tramples all the precedents and just
Yeah. And it's just he just has to be neutralized. There is no, I mean, yeah, it just, and then the rules need to be changed so that y'all can't be doing that anymore, because that's just hurting America as a whole. And so it brings us to our next discussion, because of course we've won.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the solid 48 hours. And the Democrats are fighting.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what I was gonna say. No, they lost. We didn't quite win yet. We just got Biden, man. Like,
Oh no, Biden is okay. Biden.
that's the name of this one. Trump lost. It's not Biden won. It's Trump lost.
Exactly. So now we're in this new situation where we really got to think about what comes next, right? So we got these 2 Senate seats in Georgia that we need to win.
Mm.
We're seeing now that some of our down ballot races underperformed. When I say we, I mean Democrats. So some Democrat down races did not perform well. An example are 2 seats in South Florida that were solid Dem seats that went to Republicans. So, and apparently, it's coming out that the same way that South Florida Cubans went for Trump, it's coming out that South Florida Democratic Party is basically non-existent. Like it just isn't there anymore. And I think it might be more than just South Florida, because I'm going to be honest, we're here in like the Tampa Bay area. Our representative is Charlie Crist, and I received nothing for Charlie Crist.
Yeah, I didn't.
Nothing. I was getting text messages up until like the day before election. I was getting text messages from Republicans doing really weird, sneaky shit, like Charlie Crist went to have brunch with the gays, but he didn't go have brunch with the NAACP or whatever,
Yeah.
Like really weird, awful shit that would not work, should not work, but like they did it anyway.
Because that's their mode of thinking. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, hey, who are the people you don't like? Here, who can I assume that you don't like? What group of people do you not like?
Or
okay, well, they supported them instead of you.
More accurately,
there's no
who
black
do
people
I
at the
not
fucking-
like that I can somehow manipulate you into not liking to make it seem like not liking that person with me will somehow help you?
Right. Well, because that's, again, that's their bread and fucking butter.
Which is just like, woo, that's a lot of, this is weird. But yeah, I didn't receive any text messages, I can't remember, from Charlie Crist at all. Like, and I didn't see very many, like I'm on the internet fairly a lot. I'm not on social media a lot, so maybe that's the case, but I did not see a lot of digital advertising for him either. Most of the signs I saw for him were like yard signs, not actual like campaign, sponsored signs.
Right.
So I don't know what that's about. I mean, it could just because our district is so blue that he doesn't have to really worry about it.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of weird because it's like you've been our representative now for how many terms, and you have how much money, and you can't even be bothered to put up like a decent giant Crist,
thing
like banner or something. It's somewhere, you know what I mean? Or at least open some fucking campaign offices so activists can have places to be to campaign for other Democrats in the area.
Right.
Run it, because like we could have gotten county appraiser,
Right.
Maybe we could have gotten county appraiser. Maybe we could have gotten some of these other offices that these other Republicans constantly take over. And it's like, we don't even show up for it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just interesting to me that, maybe they have a point. Like, what is going on in Florida with the Democratic Party?
I don't know.
What is the deal?
It's like,
What is it? Because, like...
They're not taking... I think maybe they're just like, it's a red state. Fuck them. You know, like,
Which
they're
is
just gonna
not
lose
true.
Anyway. No, we're
we
not.
are solid purple. Oh my God. Y'all should go to this. There's this website. I think it's called purplestatesofamerica.org. And it's a map that basically breaks down the country. Instead of just red, blue, it breaks it down into the actual percentages of each person in each state. And so now, instead of having a red or blue map, you have a solid, a map that has either solid blue, purple, magenta-ish, and it really gives you a better idea.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I know. And and it tells you, and you can go through, it's called purplestatesofamerica.org. And you can go to different years, like it goes all the way to 1980 to current. And it'll tell you whether a state is 75 Democratic, if it's like really blue. It breaks it down to purple is 65 Democrat. Oh God, what is that color? I don't even know. What is that?
It's like
magenta?
It's kind of
a magenta. Yeah. Is like a 50-50 split, and then you get kind of like a burnt red.
Rusty.
Yeah,
like
rusty
kind of red.
That's 65% Republican to solid red, which would be 75% Republican. Okay. And it changes our maps ridiculously. And suddenly you see the vast majority of the country actually right now is up for play. Yeah. The vast majority of it is pretty much a 50-50 split. Right. And so if that is the case, that means something's going on with the ground game. Yeah. We've just given up on some places where it seems that Republicans have not only not given up on certain places, but places that are most important to them, like Florida, right. They've doubled down efforts while we have largely abandoned it. Because if you look at this map, like Florida's a solid 50-50 split.
Purple, straight up. What about Georgia?
Period.
What do they have Georgia as?
Georgia is even more purple than we are.
Oh, it is. It's like slightly less. Well, because we lost Florida, but they didn't lose, correct?
Yeah, correct. It went blue.
So they went blue. Fucking Georgia went blue. Like, that's crazy.
And that's largely because of Stacey Abrams and them.
Hell
Thank you so much
Big ups to her,
for everything you do. You deserve whatever you want.
Right? You deserve it all.
Whatever you want. Truly, we don't deserve you, honestly. And so that brings us to what we're fighting about right now. So basically, can we gossip for a minute?
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Let's
some
gossip.
Polygoss. Politigos.
I love that. Let's do some gossip for a minute. So basically, the long and short of it is, people are really mad at AOC right now. I don't think it's because of what she said. I think personally, people are just irrationally hate AOC, like on all sides. Yeah, like, it is amazing to me how much Democrats hate her as well, and say the wildest things about her. It's like, it is really interesting to me. Anyway, and it's coming out even crazier right now. So anyway, what happened was, already, like, not like a few hours after the election, you had people like John Kasich and the Lincoln Project. Surprise, they pivoted. They will now be taking all that money that they fundraised from Democrats and use it towards Republican races going forward. Surprise. Yep. Good job.
Like, okay, we get the three enemies again. Thanks.
Remember, a Republican is always a Republican, period. It doesn't matter if it's Michael Steele or not. Like, he's a Republican. He's brown skinned, yes, but he's a Republican. Stop. He's a Republican. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so they've already pivoted to basically like, hey, you need to put some Republicans in your cabinet. Hey, you need to let go of the progressives now. Hey, it's time to let go of these divisive rhetoric and go back to governing from the center, basically, which means govern from the right, like we approve of, because I'm fucking John Kasich and I approve of like a fucking abortion ban. I am nowhere near a liberal, rights oriented politician in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. So yeah, we should definitely take advice from him. Anyway, so that started happening. Then a phone call got leaked from a Democratic, the House caucus had a conference call where they sort of talked about their races after they happened. Sort of did a deconstruct, I guess, of what do you think went wrong, what do you think went right, which is wild to me because it was still super early. It happened the day after the election. Jesus. And I guess Abigail Spanberger, who's from a relatively red, a pretty red, probably a 65% red district in Virginia, former CIA analyst, now a politician, said basically like, we have to stop talking about socialism. We have to get away from defund the police. Like, no, we just have to get away from it. So that leaked.
And so what? Then what are we left with? What is our message?
Hold on. Because
They're just telling
there's
us
so
what
many
not
things
to
wrong
say.
with that. Let's talk about it. First of all, it's the day after the fucking election. Hold on a minute. Like, hold on a minute. But then what made it worse is then other people like Connor Lamb, Clyburn came out and we're talking about how basically, yeah, it's the messaging. The socialism is the problem. The defund the police is the problem. Blah, 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 blah.
Give me a fucking break.
So then, sensing what was coming, which was a barrage of get rid of the fucking progressives because they're an anchor, AOC put out a series of tweets that was basically like, this is not about us. This is about people running campaigns like it's 1984 when it's 2020. I have tried to help multiple times because I'm in the party. I want us to win, but no one wants my help. And in fact, we are strategically pushed out. She didn't say that. I did. And, the people who did get our help with, new fucking consulting and, understanding how to get more voters out, whatever, to get the actual base of your community out to vote for you and excited for you. A lot of people said no to that help, and you need to look at that first before you come out here talking about progressives are the fucking problem.
Yeah.
And
Because they showed up, man. Like,
Of
they
course.
showed up and they got the votes in, for you to have the ability to even start saying this shit. Like, you wouldn't even be saying this shit if it weren't for the progressives that were like, okay, I guess I'll go vote for Biden. And it's like, okay, but now you need to recognize that these people are part of your voting bloc.
yeah.
And
basically what's happened is now there's this online fight happening, and on TV because they need drama to keep moving between, old Democrats and young Democrats and this, and this. When really what's happening is this is what always happens after every fucking election. Okay? We have a base of the party, or the backbone, as you say, that shows up consistently to get shit out. And now we have young voters who are showing up consistently who politically align a lot of times with that quote unquote backbone that you're depending on. But that group all of a sudden has to not exist so that for the next 2 to 4 years, you can try to win the people who voted for Trump.
such a
Voted for Trump.
Where's your logic at with that? No,
And it's like, and I get that, the idea of this is politics, we should always try to win people's votes. And I agree with you, but at some point we have to call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
What people like Abigail Spangberger and the rest of the women who were a part of that, Central Intelligence Squad, because that was another squad that they deemed in the House, which is basically a group of women who used to work in the intelligence agencies who now formed an alliance, which, okay, fine, cool, whatever. It's the House. Have fun. But of course, they were played to be in opposition to the, AOCs and the squad because, their districts are what, real America, which means they are usually white people making between 80 grand and 400,000. So not exactly upper middle class, but not exactly lower middle class. And they're desperately trying to stay in that place. And so they have a politics that don't make any lick of sense.
No.
So we end up with candidates that don't make any sense.
Right.
And then when it's time to get reelected, even as an incumbent, you end up losing because you don't make any sense. Like, no one knows what you're for. That is the problem.
Yeah.
We're going to be called socialists literally forever. It is your job as the professional to get in there and frame why you aren't the socialist and why socialism. First of all, why is socialism not what they're saying it is? God damn
Right.
it. You don't have, come on.
Quit playing by their rules. Quit using their fucking rhetoric. This is so stupid. Because Biden and Harris have been called socialists by the right. Which couldn't be farther from the fucking truth. It's insane. So it's like you're saying, we're going to be called that regardless. Don't play off of what don't let them set the frame for the conversation. You know what I mean?
And the problem, and also, don't slap fucking activists in the face. Their job is not to make your job easy. Their job is already fucking hard. They are on these streets trying to get people to recognize how they have power, in which they then use to get you elected and to let you have some power in the House. Okay. Right. So they're important. All right. They're not just like, why do they have to say that? Okay. Why do they have to say defund the police? Because God damn it, that's what they demanded.
And that's what needs to happen.
That's what they demanded. Now it's your job with the whole like $175,000 we're paying you a year to then take that information and then put it into something that works for your community and then say it in a way that works for your community. It is not our fault you live in a mostly Republican district and you want to run as a Democrat. I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know what to tell you. But the whole idea that we need to cannibalize our entire agenda because people in like highly red like to purple districts can't win as much as they used to, even though they're winning.
Right.
Like nothing in the data spells that there's any scary thing happening. No. If anything, you know what is scary? Those fucking commercials that Republicans ran that made it seem like defunding the police was going to lead to complete, lawlessness and crime.
Made no sense.
Was the problem. But see, we don't do anything to get ahead of stuff like that.
No.
And when that shit does happen, we don't do anything to correct it. We just, kind of like run away from it or, it's...
I don't know how many times I can say that's not what defund the police means. Like, I don't know how many fucking times, because they don't listen. That's the thing. Like, when we're saying this stuff, it's like they don't listen. And so changing the name of it or saying we shouldn't have said defund, it wouldn't have mattered. If we do anything to change the police at all, they're just going to be like, lawlessness. Oh, nobody's going to answer 911.
And it's also just ridiculous. Like, eventually you have to take responsibility for the election debacle y'all created. Like this, you're like moving more and more to the right to try to appeal to people who increasingly have absolutely no concerns that you can actually deal with policy wise because it's not truly a concern like that. Like seriously, healthcare, like for example, she ran on strengthening healthcare. Strengthening the ACA. Girl, the vast majority of the people in your district don't even like the ACA.
Yeah, that's not. So
why would they show up in droves to vote for somebody who's going to strengthen it? This is the issue. Why did Democrats run on healthcare when they had Trump on the fucking ticket? When they had corrupt Republicans on the ticket? When they had, you put us in office, you can be guaranteed a stimulus within the first 100 days.
Right.
Like, where is the retail politics here?
Yeah, exactly.
Give us shit. We'll vote for you. Period. That's really it. You have an economy in the dumps. You have needing to stimulus the fuck out of everything. Run on it.
Yeah.
Run on it.
It's so simple.
I mean, and if you lose, figure it out next time. But this whole idea that, now we have to, run and hide under the fact that we very much have a problem with police departments. Period. You can't look at anything that's happened over the last 6 months as it pertains to Black Lives Matter, and come away with that thinking, oh yeah, our police departments are totally healthy and normal, and we don't have to maybe think about the way we do that at all. Like, yeah, that's exactly the lesson the most Americans got. Wake up.
Yeah, come on.
Like, yes.
And real quick, too, the one thing that really kind of pisses me off, too, about this whole vilification of the progressives within the Democratic Party is that, I've spent hours online, trying to convince progressives not to waste their vote, not to stay home, and go, no, dude, it's going to be better. We're going to figure it out. They're going to actually listen to us.
It'll be better in the Democratic Party. And then it's better than nothing.
And doing all the things because, like, I'm sort of like a mediator, I feel like, between the two. You know what I mean? I have to be because I got to be reasonable about this. I understand their policies are very important, and the progressive policies are, what the people want, what the people need. And the Democrats are just trying to please the Republicans all the time or try to find some midway. And so it's like I'm trying to find this balance between the two, and it's just really frustrating because now I got to turn around and go from the progressives to the Democrats and be like, can you fucking chill? What the fuck, man? I just got all these people to fucking vote for you or did my best to get as many as I could, and now you're going to do this shit? Really? What the fuck? You're putting me in a really tough position here.
And it's like, I think it's like no one is arguing, like, we get it. Every district can't be, deep blue district. We get that. But this idea that the Democrats are perfect and they've been doing everything perfectly when we have a runoff coming with, like, two of the worst senators ever. Like, John Ossoff, first of all, that's a whole nother side conversation we can have. But, like, John Ossoff murdered that man in that goddamn debate. And it's like, and they're still running off. Like, it's just crazy. I mean, look, it's awesome that it's close. Could have been a blowout, but it's just like, this should have been a landslide.
Right, and Mitch McConnell blew his fucking debate. It was ridiculous. He just sat there and was like, I don't even know what to say.
It's almost like maybe there's something about door-to-door politics and not debates that matter.
I mean, debates don't matter. I mean, really, I wish they did. I wish they were convincing to people, but they're just not. They're just not.
I just know I'm so fucking over it. Like, listen, I get it. Like, everything can't be progressive or nothing, and we can't. But it's like, what I need these politicians to understand, especially people like Abigail Spanberger, who, like, operates in this middle part where no one understands what that means policy wise, because I don't even think y'all know what that means policy wise. But when you sit there and you get surprised that people aren't motivated to go vote for you, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is still a person, like, a charismatic, personable game. Like, this is still something where you need people to show up not just because of the policy, but because of you.
Right.
And it's like, if that's not something you can do, then the Democrats need to move on to a candidate that can do that.
Right.
And I think that's the part that is messed up, is like, what is this going to look like eventually when more and more people feel like the Democratic Party can't support any race?
Yeah.
Like not only are they having trouble keeping deep blue seats, they're also having trouble with the seats we have almost no chance in hell of winning either. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And I'm also, and eventually you're going to get to a point where people are going to stop caring about this shit at all. That's
right.
where we're heading, because that's the real fucked up of it all, is like turning around and be like, progressive, shut the fuck up. We still have a Senate race to win in Georgia. And then realizing that, wait, but you don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. So what are you going to do? What are you going to pass? What are you going to, like, I don't understand. Y'all can't even figure out how to, like, have constructive conversations and, like, learn from each other.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
What does that even mean?
Like, how is this a Democratic Party if you can't listen to all your constituents? Like, come on.
And not even just their own cohort.
Yeah.
Like, if you have someone on your team who has access to, like, it's like, think of it like a sports team. I know this is dumb and redundant and whatever, but if there was a kick-ass trainer that someone on the team was going to, and this trainer was knocking shit out of the park, and all of a sudden y'all are winning games left and right, it's time for the whole team to engage this trainer.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody might not get something great out of it. Maybe they just get something okay out of it. But goddamn it, you should probably try if the fate of, like, I don't know, our government is at stake.
Yeah, which it is.
And it's just, I'm just so sick of these personalities of, like, I want to be in politics without it being political. Well, get another job.
Yeah, too bad. That's sort of the bread and butter of this, man. Like,
get another job. Like, you need to appeal to people. I'm sorry. You have to be, it's not, I'm sure you're good at policy making, but if you want to just work on policy, there's other avenues that you can do to work on policy.
Yeah.
Go be a staff member. But you can't be a member. Like,
no.
You can't be an actual politician then, because sometimes actual politicians have to go out on a limb and say stupid shit to get people to like them, and then they'll show up for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, and not even stupid shit, but, like, leaders make us believe. God damn it.
You got to be convincing. That's the thing. Like, it's all about convincing people. This is law. I mean, really, it's about being a lawyer and having convincing arguments and being able to go up and convince as many people that your policy is going to be best for them.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows until, you know what I mean? Like, they're just listening to you. So you gotta give them something to believe in.
Exactly. And eventually, y'all are going to have to deal with the fact that these districts have been gerrymandered into shit and have created these exurbs that have exorbitant amount of power over you to basically support inane policy that does not work for the vast majority of the country and just will not fly. So that is the biggest part of it all, is like, the Republicans have fucked you into a corner and you got to figure out a way to get out, or we're just going to lose for a long time until like people in these districts realize how awful it is to do this, and then finally change their own goddamn minds.
Right.
Because I was just reading today, I think Wyoming is thinking about just stopping sewer and water to their rural parts of the state because they have no money.
Wow.
COVID has just killed them. They have
My
no
God.
money, and they have no state taxes because it's just like so Republican. There's no income tax. There's no estate tax. You can put your property in like a fucking dynasty, like shelter for 1,000 years or some shit. Like, go look it up.
Wow.
Like, Wyoming has almost no taxes, to the point where some people are like, people who already are vulnerable as fuck are going to lose even more.
Jesus.
And still, like, and it's just, and still it might happen just so people in their McMansions don't have to pay more taxes.
That's it. Yeah, you all get to lose your like utilities because they can't, because those rich people just don't want to get taxed. That's the world. That is your whole everything for the Republican Party, is give the rich people what they want, because someday I might be rich, and then people like me, they'll see. They gotta look out.
Like, you're just mad that a conversation that you wanted to keep kicking down the road came to your front door. Because what we're not going to do this election cycle is all of a sudden be like, oh, what Black Lives Matter? Who Breonna Taylor? What George Floyd? Like, I don't remember any of that happening. Who said defund? I don't know what defund means.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to act like all of 2020 didn't just happen.
No. Yeah.
And the last 4 years and all the shit that got us here. No,
Exactly.
we're not going to do that.
Nope.
Anyway, if you had an automatic payment plan with Lincoln Project, please shut that shit down.
Shut it down now. Shut
that
it
shit
down.
down.
Now all that money's going towards forcing forced birth.
Yeah.
So
So exactly. And remember, more Republicans came out for Trump this time. So I think we can say that getting Republicans to do shit for us is probably not as effective as us just doing shit for us.
yes.
So I want to
Agreed.
think about that in future Democrats.
Yeah.
Especially DCCC.
Yeah.
Y'all got to get it
Come on.
together. Get
Come
it
on,
together.
y'all.
Anyway, hooray.
Yeah.
Hooray, hooray. Y'all
But Trump
celebrate, but do not stop paying attention. I saw earlier somewhere where they want to put Rahm Emanuel in the goddamn cabinet, and I will be damned if Rahm Emanuel holds any other position of power in anything. No.
Never again.
You will never hold public office again.
Hell no.
Never. Oh my God, these fucking people. Anyway, so y'all have a great one. We will be back soon with our regular episode.
Yep.
Bye.
So what do we say to the haters, discriminators, and masturbator shamers?
Fuck off!